Hey guys, welcome back once again to Resistance Chicks Part 2 of February 7th, 2018. We are your hosts, Leah and Michelle. So I have to tell you, I don't know how when I see Justin Trudeau and I look at this guy, I'm like, how did he become Prime Minister of Canada? Like, I don't get it. It doesn't compute. I see some sort of frat boy. You know what I mean?
He's always
idiotic.
He's always
like he's just so.
All right, so I wanted to get to this so we can move, so we can kind of analyze. He's with a bunch of like millennial college kids, and she's got some questions she wants to ask him.
So that's why we came here today to ask you to also look into the policies that religious charitable organizations have in our legislation, so that it can also be changed, because maternal love is the love that's going to change the future of mankind. So we'd like you to look into
we like to say peoplekind, not necessarily mankind.
You don't have the rest of the response of the students?
There was another one.
Man, you guys need to see that part. Like the way that they react to what we like to say, because he finishes that sentence. We like to say peoplekind because it's more inclusive. And then the crowd goes wild. I mean, it's ridiculous.
See, where's the whole video? I'm gonna bring it up on Twitter. Well, it's here. Let me see if it's here. Where are you, Justin? That's 21 seconds. Where's the full one?
Look into the policy.
Not necessarily mankind.
No, that just ends right there.
They're
okay. So while you're looking for that, let's talk about this for a second. Why in the world does it matter whether you say mankind or peoplekind? Because guess what? Mankind, Justin, is short for the word human.
Came here today to ask you to also look into the policies that religious charitable organizations have in our legislation, so that it can also be changed, because maternal love is the love that's going to change the future of mankind. Justin. So we'd like you to look
we like to say peoplekind, not necessarily mankind, because it's more inclusive.
There we go, exactly. Yes, thank you.
We can all learn from each other. Okay.
Now, he came out and said that's a joke. He wasn't joking. He was serious, because then he goes on to say we can all learn from each other.
Yes, thank you.
We can all learn from each other.
There's a difference.
Okay,
because if I had been there and she had said that, and then I had said that, everybody there would have known that I was just joking. Like I was trolling. You know what I'm saying? Now we like to say peoplekind. You can't say mankind, because I'm going to use that from now on. Okay, here on Resistance Chicks. Lee and I were on a dog walk. We're talking about this. You want to get to that now, or you want to do it later?
Well, I was going to read these ones. The postman told me that they don't really have the manpower to manage all of their work, so I invited fresh men from our local university to help, but they are busy giving mandatory help for firemen this week.
That is so...
Can you put together now your best sentences and your best words? Now you have to take out man and men and put in people. Okay, the post person told me the other day that we don't have enough people power to peopleage all the work. So I've invited the fresh people from our local university to help, but we are busy giving peopleatory help with the fire people.
I like people. I think that we need to get rid of the name like mandolin. People that play the mandolin.
Should be people.
It's the Peoplekind.
And if you're from the UK and you're from Manchester, it's Peoplechester from now on.
Ohio has a Mansfield. I don't know how that managed.
People's Field
to last that long. It should definitely be the People's Field.
Manufacturing, people factoring,
because we're factoring people.
Factoring.
Yeah, to me, it's completely Manitoba in Canada.
Peopletoba.
I think Trudeau needs to take that one on himself.
I bet he lives in a mansion, and I bet it needs to be a peopleshin.
Yeah, or maybe you should just give up your peopleshin.
So I want to read you some of these tweets.
Because you're obviously overpaid.
Come on, y'all. I know you can do good.
Sook said it too. He says people is discriminatory too. Okay, because I told this to Leah. What if there are people that identify as a chair or a dog or something? Mm-hmm. It's just things.
Dave, this guy on Twitter says, peoplekind, just think about that for a second. We've reached peak stupid. Trudeau is insufferable. If he wasn't in politics, he'd be unemployable.
Christian Soldier says, man, I'm confused. I mean, people.
Curious if Justin Trudeau has ever interrupted Saudi arms dealers to explain to them the importance of saying peoplekind versus mankind.
Well, I think you can't be a woman. You can't feel like a woman. You can't be proud to be a woman because you have to be proud to be a woe people.
He wasn't joking. He was not joking. A person cover, a person a toba, and instead of a manatee, a personity.
Yeah. Absolutely. Redneck says libs are just desperate for anything they can get.
Instead of a woman, you have a woe people. Instead of menopause, you have people pause. Instead of a manicure, you have people cure. Instead of men straight, you have people straight.
Right, exactly. Because that should not, the word man should not be in those two things.
Bigots.
Menopause.
Bigots all y'all.
Men straight. All right, Patriot Gallery.
I think it's against the law, literally, that stupid people like this can hold office. They can't hold office because they're held to higher accountability. And why would somebody like myself here in a living room in Milford, Ohio, have to come and teach a Prime Minister of Canada, man means man, but woman means man. And so when men are created equal, that means men and women are created equal.
Yeah.
We make it simple, make it easy so everybody can understand it. We don't make it confusing.
No more women.
Bad leaders make it confusing, like this guy is making things confusing because he's stupid. He doesn't understand that a man and a woman is a man. And men and a woman is a man. It's just one word, human.
We're all humans. It's just, it's a derivative of human.
And it is against the law for people like this to be teachers. In any situation, Bible says teachers are held to a higher accountability. Yes. You have to be smart to be a teacher or be in government because you're held to... John Locke said that the king has to be perfect more than anybody else. That means without sin.
Yeah.
In order to lead people.
Without stupidity.
Yeah, when anything brings confusion, that is stupidity. Teachers and leaders are supposed to end confusion.
Right.
This Canadian says, I've officially moved past embarrassed to utter dismay to everyone who was stupid enough to vote for him. How do you like him now? Way to go, idiots.
I'm glad you mentioned this.
People shouldn't.
You people shouldn't it. Oh my gosh. Worth a Look says, does Canada really want him as a leader? Let me guess. He's got into the mind of all 16-year-olds. Very true.
The people is plural for person. Per son. What about daughters?
Very true. Whoa.
Per daughter. Per
mind
children.
Blown. See, now you can't say person anymore because that's a male thing.
Per offspring kind.
Yeah.
Instead of people kind, it should be per offspring kind. And then somebody posted this. This is he wants you to know that he is a feminist and how to be a better feminist.
There's lots of things you can do to be a better feminist as a man, but here's a simple one. Don't interrupt women. And notice every time women get interrupted in to be a better feminist as a man, but here's a simple one. Don't interrupt to be a better feminist as a man, but here's a simple one. Don't interrupt women. And notice every time women get interrupted in
Oh, you wore Superman? Excuse me. I'm triggered by that. I'm so triggered by that it's getting a whistle. And a flag. Where's my flag? You took my flag?
I don't have your
flag.
flag.
I don't know where my yellow flag is, but seriously, because we can't have Superman, all right? Just because you have Superwoman doesn't mean that you can have Superman. Superman should not even exist. It's just super people, and we are all super people, Trudeau.
But now
okay?
we're totally messed up because we can't say people.
We can't say people. You can't say person. You can't say anything.
All right. This is probably going to be one of the most disgusting things you've seen on the internet all week. This is literally a telethon for abortion. And they had this feminist, lesbian-looking woman acting something out. And just watch.
No, abortion. Killing the baby. No killing babies. No abortions. And yet, when the little baby is small, the little baby, you can't eat your fetus. I'll give it to you! You can't eat your fetus!
They called this the SHITTY law charades. These are bad law charades. This is a bad law to them.
You cannot use aborted fetuses as ingredients in the manufacture of food products?
Yeah.
Is
Wait,
this
I lost my
bananas
facts.
law that
No.
makes you think that eating fetuses is a thing, and it's not? And if anything has ever made me want to eat an aborted fetus, it's this law.
All right, so for those of you that didn't hear what she said that this law makes you think that eating aborted fetuses is a thing. Okay? And then she goes on to say, but if anything makes me want to eat an aborted fetus, it's this law.
Who says that kind of stuff? Like, who decides to laugh about abortion? Did you hear them laughing about, it's a little bitty baby, it's a little baby, it's a 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 baby. We're killing babies. We're killing babies. We know we're killing babies. But we're going to laugh about it. We're going to joke about it. And you guys, they've used it like Pepsi. There's a thing. Pepsi used it as a flavoring.
They did use it as a flavoring in Pepsi Cola. I don't know that it's
It's not there anymore,
but it was there, and that's why a lot of people stopped drinking Pepsi for a long time.
Like aborted baby cells for vaccines.
Now I
mean,
want to know.
seriously.
Here's what I want to know. Said I want you to know right now.
You know why this is a thing? I got to come up with this. Owen did this thing the other day.
Are so heartless that they don't care, and not just heartless, that's not the right word, vile, sick monsters, that they don't care that that is a law. Like, they don't want it to be a law. Anybody with half a brain should say, you know what, that's probably not a good thing. Humans eating human flesh, okay? Right. You should not be doing that. It's disgusting. It is vile. It is like vampiric. Okay, this is just... So the fact that they're trying to say that that's a bad law shows their level of insanity. I mean, we are like topping the level of insanity.
No, wait. I need to let you know that this is a thing. Because Owen had this on,
Owen
I think,
from Infowars,
as they were doing the Sarah Silverman thing, I think. This is from 2012. They found this. Thousands of pills filled with powdered human baby flesh discovered... What?
We'll get to it, yeah. All right.
Thousands of pills filled with powdered human baby flesh discovered by customs officials in South Korea. More than 17,000 pills smuggled into the country have been intercepted since, and it was 2012 in August. Pills viewed as a miracle cure for all ailments, but unsurprisingly, they are harmful. Thousands of pills filled with powdered human flesh have been discovered by customs officials in South Korea. The capsules are in demand as a cure-all. The grim trade is being run from China, where corrupt medical staff are said to be tipping off medical companies when babies are aborted or delivered stillborn.
Stillborn.
The tiny corpses are then bought, stored in household refrigerators in homes of those involved in the trade before they are removed and taken into clinics where they are placed in medical drying microwaves. Once the skin is tinder dried, it is pummeled into powder, then processed into capsules along with herbs to disguise the true ingredients from health investigators and customs officers. The discoveries in that August in 2012 has shocked even hardened customs agents who have pledged to strengthen their inspections. Chinese officials are understood to have been aware of the trade and have tried to stop the capsules being exported, but thousands of packages.
Chinese. They perform more abortions than any country ever.
And why this is crazy is because this top Vatican official says that communist China is the best model of Catholic social teaching today. He says he went to China. He says all they want to do is work. They have a great work ethic, and that if you wanted to experience Catholic social teaching, the best place is in China today. What's going on at a Catholic church? Come on, y'all. This is cray-cray. This is insanity, y'all. Sanity. This is a real thing. Health authorities in Asia are concerned that if the powdered fetus trade is allowed to continue, the capsules will find their way onto the internet and be sold to gullible, sick, and desperate people. South Korean Customs Services said today it had heightened its searches. So this is a thing. There's thousands and thousands and thousands of pills. Just to let you know, I know people are like, is that really a thing? This is also a thing from from ABC News. So no, it's
our
a thing.
Friend Beth had sent us. This is someone that we know. Leah went to school with in real life, and she left this comment on this specific topic with the Sarah Silverman thing, saying that she would eat or nothing makes her want to eat an aborted fetus more than this law. And our friend Beth says, I think the word feminist has unfortunately been sullied. I consider myself a feminist, but not in the way some of these people do. I just believe that women shouldn't have rights removed simply because they are female, and I don't want to take away the rights of men in any way. I just believe the female voice is important. I am also a Christian, and that word has been sullied for some throughout history as well. So I am a Christian feminist. Most of my time is spent in regards to this subject about equality in the church, but I do believe that women's rights in general are important, like having the right to vote. That was brought up by feminists, right? Question mark. But I do want to be clear that I do not equate myself to feminists who feel like they should make statements like the one here. As a Christian, my motivation is always life and love. And you like to talk about that on the show a lot, how we do believe in the inception ideal of feminism, how all mankind should be treated equal, regardless of your gender, regardless of your status, regardless of your skin color, your history, whatever. Everyone should be treated as equally. And so I like Beth's Christian perspective here. She's a mom. She homeschools her kids. She's a Christian. She's a very feminine person. So I like that view from Beth. So thank you for that, Beth.
People know that if you got in contact with one of these, it's very bad for your health. If the baby goes through the birth canal, they can it's near the rectum, and you can get all kinds of diseases.
The pill?
You can you can get bacteria.
This pill with the fetus in it.
Yeah, it can be very, very, very bad.
So
for you.
Patriot Gallery, while we were on the break, pointed something out. And she just opened her door and said this would be a good time for us to insert this, and I agree. We were talking in the last chat, or at least you guys were, about crypto and it falling and things like that, and the dollar. And a lot of times when we bring to you gold and silver, people come to us and say, well, we can't go back to a gold-backed currency or just gold and silver itself, because there's not enough gold and silver to go around. That's absolutely ridiculous and absurd for many reasons, one of them being inflation has created all of these extra dollar bills, but you can always deflate and go back to a standard tangible good trade.
There's not enough gold and silver for the dollars that are in existence today.
There's not enough gold and silver when you're operating on a
fiat currency system, which continually prints out fake money. If all you have to do is print out paper, paper is definitely a more readily sourced.
Right. You're not going to be able to go to the loan bank. You're not going to be able to go to the auto place and just get a $50,000 car.
Random loans all the time. Random credit cards.
We Americans, at least, live on credit. All world businesses live on credit. Our government lives on credit. So when people say,
but you have to decide: do you want liberty, or do you want the Constitution,
or do you want all this plush living that's false, that's built on a house of cards?
All the little things that we have today. But as Patriot Gallery pointed out, if you are actually producing a goods, the reason you need money is because you need to trade between your sack of potatoes and somebody else's strawberries. So then, they might have more strawberries than your potatoes need. So that's why we use money. But, there is enough gold and silver. Ron Paul has talked about this. There is enough gold and silver.
More than enough.
To actually do exchanges. But there's not, if you're $17 trillion in debt, there's not enough gold and silver to cover that.
Duh. So now, how does this line up with this? We say all that to say the actual line that she gave, which was really important. She says, the essence of life, here we're talking about abortion, is not money. You will not die, without money. Mankind, peoplekind, whatever you want to say, Trudeau, will not die without money. You will not stop breathing. You will not stop eating. You will not stop having shelter without fake paper dollars. You will not do any of that without gold and silver, okay? You can live and you can subsist with eating and finding shelter. All right, the Pilgrims came over here in 1620.
They traded goods
with nothing. All right, they built up from the ground up during one of the harshest winters that Plymouth, Massachusetts had ever seen. Okay, and they survived it, and they built the rest of America.
The problem is that most of us do busy jobs, not actual real work.
Right.
So you're not actually creating or participating in some sort of tangible good.
Right.
It's done by manufacturing, and it's done by machines, and the rest of us just kind of go to the grocery store and think our food. So you have to totally change your mindset and how, and we already have. See, we're a homesteading channel, okay? We don't believe in the fake paper dollar system.
Right.
We know that if you have a male and female pigs, you're going to have a ton of piglets, right? That's wealth built up. We believe in building up wealth.
And that's exactly what Patriot Gallery was saying. She says, God says to all of us, the Dominion command and things like that, go forth and multiply. Somebody said to Leah or us on our Facebook page the other day, since when did this channel get so godly? And Leah commented back like, since always. It all comes back to, how does God want us to live? We're going to bring you back. We don't lean to the right. We don't lean to the left. We lean on the word of God, and we filter our worldview through that. And we start right there in Genesis, where God says, go forth and multiply. We're talking about pigs. We're talking about chickens. We're talking about cows. We're talking about people. We're talking about life. Okay. So I said to my mom last night, we were having a conversation, and one of the things about God and Jesus that blows me away every time I think about it, every time I step outside, and that is this. Jesus is the word, right? My atheists that can't follow, I'm sorry. Try to keep up. But for my Christian friends, you'll get this. Jesus was the word, which means when God spoke in the beginning, let there be light, let the trees bring forth, fruit, let the animals bring forth after their kind, and so on and so forth. Jesus literally was that word, was that power, is the spoken word of God, that force that went forth. And it was so powerful, roughly 8,000 years ago, according to creation. It was so powerful 8,000 years ago that the trees, that you, that me, that the animals still are in operation and obeying that word, obeying that life force, obeying that power like an echo. Jesus was that word, and it went forth, and the trees continue to bring forth. The animals continue to bring forth. Humans continue to bring forth because Jesus was the word and that power that spoke forth. And what Patriot Gallery wrote here is, she said, this is why abortion is the opposite of existence. Okay, it goes against the flow of life, which is multiplying. Okay, so if Jesus is the word of God, and I'm hoping this doesn't hurt anybody's head here. If Jesus is the spoken word of God, life that makes things bring forth and bud, abortion is completely opposite of that word, that life force that goes forth. It is devilry.
Yes.
You get it? All right, so
this is a disclaimer. This video does not have a disclaimer on it. If you have children, maybe they don't need to see Feminist Fight Club. This is in the UK, talking about feminism, how crazy feminism is. Paul Joseph Watson brought this to my attention. I'm going to play a couple clips from this. They've decided that they're so angry.
Kate says, I'm not a Christian, but I follow your meaning. Thank you, Kate.
Thank you, Kate. These feminists, and see, here's the thing. When we say lefties, we say feminists. I know a lot of different words mean a lot of different things to a lot of different people.
True.
But these people call themselves feminists. Hillary Clinton calls herself a feminist. Sarah Silverman calls herself a feminist. Planned Parenthood calls themselves feminists. And so those are the people that we're talking about when we're talking about cray cray.
Before the fight, I often think about things like Theresa May hosting women as refugees, or I think about the man that catcalled me on the street.
This is the UK Feminists Fight Club because they're so upset at the Tories. Yeah.
My name is Fetus.
Oh, this is ridiculous.
And I founded FemFeral. FemFeral is a queer femme fighting force. We want to destroy the conservative government.
Force.
We want to bring down the patriarchy. We want to take up space. We want to make lots of noise.
This is stupid. It's
We're
just
really
stupid.
angry about the way that women and kind of femme-identifying people...
I'm just going to say, I'm going to repeat something she said, and I'm going to let you just make your own decision. She says when she's angry about being catcalled on the street, you make your own conclusions on that
being
one.
treated around things like Brexit and this conservative government, and having nowhere to put that anger.
She's real angry about that.
We fight each other as a mode of resistance to try and channel our energies and our rage.
Naked, by the way. Naked.
So, pause.
There's an element of like...
Can you pause it for a second?
Actually, I'm going to stop because we can't only handle so much. By the way, this is not just females. Any transgenders can run around naked in their undies, and they go on to say that they use their bodies as some sort of powerful blah, 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 blah. And this is feminism today, y'all, and I don't want no part of it.
If your way of getting back at men and your anger at men is to hit each other as women, what kind of sense does that make? All right? If I'm angry at a man, throw me in the ring with a man and give me a weapon like a bat.
I ain't going naked.
Okay? And I'm not going naked. This is the most unfeminist, unfeminine thing I can think of. I mean, this is ridiculous. This is insanity. Oh my gosh. We Are Borg says, I am not wrestling a fat lesbian to prove my womanhood. Oh, heck no. That's what she said. Now, Sydney is so upset about this. She's taking herself outside.
She just came in. She wants a treat. I just brought her upstairs. All right. So, we're in the UK now. All right. So, these were the UK feminists rolling around like slugs or something, getting their cooties on each other.
Ew.
The UK police threatened public over Islamophobic tweets on female genital mutilations awareness day, despite 0 female genital mutilation convictions. Now,
hang on. Chris says, hey, ladies, men are the worst. Let's beat each other up. That'll show them.
That, to me, makes a little bit more sense. I just have to say. Guys just hitting each other randomly.
No, he's saying the women saying that. We're so upset at the men. Let's beat each other up. That'll show them.
Okay.
But yeah, men beating each other up makes more sense.
Getting out weird.
Because like if you're mad at your wife, you can't hit your wife unless you're Muslim. So you might as well go hit another dude. Just kidding.
So
I don't believe in fighting in general.
the Surrey police tweeted this out. Tomorrow is International Day of Zero Tolerance for FGM, which is female genital mutilation done by Muslims across the world, mostly in Somalia. Female genital mutilation is hugely underreported, and children are often fearful to report a crime committed by their family or community. Find your voice, let girls be girls, and help fight against FGM. Now, some people had some choice words about the female genital mutilation, and so they had to issue another report which said, we're saddened that a few people have taken this post as an opportunity to respond by posting Islamophobic abuse. Now listen to this. Please be aware that such responses are being reported to Twitter and will be passed on to our intelligence teams. You will be, if you are Islamophobic, we will arrest you. However, there has not been one arrest with the female genital mutilation. However, they say that they know it exists and it is going on, but nobody is being arrested. However, we will arrest you for being Islamophobic. Now, I tweeted out, because they said Breitbart is Islamophobic, and I said, do you think that maybe they're FGM-ophobic? They might be suicide bomber-ophobic. They might be acid attack-ophobic. Now, these are real reasons to be afraid. Or you know what? I have a fear of nuclear war, which is why I don't want us to be at odds with Russia. Are the Democrats, Russianophobic? Why don't we give up Russianophobia? Why? Because they say it's a real fear, right? Yes. Female genital mutilation, if you're a Muslim girl, you need to be afraid. Because it could happen to you. And it does happen to millions of young girls.
Yes.
Acid attacks are up. Like how much in the UK? I'm afraid. I'm an acid attack-ophobic, man. And then I also put on there, I am being chopped into pieces and mutilated-ophobic.
And eaten as a kebab-ophobic.
Because in Italy, some failed migrant asylum seeker in Italy chopped a girl up into pieces. And Italy pretty upset. They have 2 front-running. This is actually kind of cool. I should put it in the title. They've got 2 guys running in Italy. Okay? And one guy wanted to said he would deport 500,000 failed asylum seekers. And one guy upped the ante after the chopping up of the girl and said, we'll do 600,000. We'll only let like 39,000 stay, those who are true asylum seekers.
Yeah.
Okay, so Zero tolerance for female. Okay, the news comes as Breitbart London can reveal the Surrey police have conducted no arrests for the practice of female gender mutilation in the last 12 months, and no FGM-related arrests have led to convictions. On Monday, the police issued a tweet stating, we saw that. And then when asked what International Day of Zero Tolerance entailed, Surrey police told Breitbart London it is an International Day of Awareness. Therefore, we have undertaken communications and activities to promote awareness, information, updates, and training to both our staff and officers and communities within Surrey. They also admitted to taking no action, i.e. arrests, on the day. When asked why they were threatening Twitter users, the force detailed, we have and will report those whose tweets either contravenes Twitter's policies, for example, those regarding hateful imagery, and or meets the CPS definition of a hate crime. When asked what constituted the intelligence teams they cited in their tweets, they told Breitbart London, our intelligence department handles and processes all intelligence provided to us by the public officers and partnered intelligence. Additional work for the Surrey police officers in helping to enforce Twitter's policies, blah, 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 blah. And you're going to be arrested if you say anything remotely sane on Twitter.
That's not far from the truth. Seriously, they are cracking down on these people. They are making arrests.
We're still in the UK. Ready for this? Your PC insanity actually, to me, exceeds that of Canada, because Canada has just Justin Trudeau and a few things. But I got to tell you, the UK is in crazy, because the UK has actually been overrun with more Muslims than Canada. Now, listen to this. British government promotes liberation of hijab at London events. Not liberation from the hijab, but that the hijab is liberating. And I ain't going to put it back on again because I don't want to. You know why? Because I feel liberated right now. And if I put that thing on my head, I'm not going to feel liberated.
You know what it is? It's actually, what they mean there is the hijab is liberating. The liberals want this. The left want this push because they actually hate women.
This is
liberals hate women.
That's true. That's true. That is absolutely true. The Foreign Commonwealth Office in the UK put this poster out that said, World Hijab Day, international event on February 1st. Many Muslim women find liberation, respect, and security in wearing the hijab. Strong in hijab, hashtag. Would you like to learn more? Come along to our walk-in event and you will be given a chance to wear a free hijab, issue free scarves to those who want to try it on. The Department of the British government also promoted the idea of liberation when wearing the veil that Muslim women across the world have shunned as an antiquated, oppressive tool. We show you guys the videos of women in Iran all over the world are burning it. And in the UK, they're like, Liberation Day! No, this is not a thing. If the UK and the Labour Party and the Liberals, they want to actually be taken seriously, you had the 1960s feminists who burn their bras, but then say, put on a hijab, it's liberating.
Yeah, that doesn't go. Mm-mm.
I don't understand.
I do not understand it.
I don't understand.
Chris says the left is no longer liberal. They are authoritarian. Very few on the political left are liberal. Very true. I have to tell you, when I was a kid, in our house, my mom was a Republican, so we really went along with Republican views. There really wasn't an alternative to that. It was just liberal, Democrat, or Republican, conservative. And I remember reading my Bible. I'm like 10 or 11, and it talks about being a liberal person. And I was like, you know, as a kid, you take words literally. And I'm like, God's a liberal? Oh my gosh. I mean, it blew my mind because the word actually means caring, giving, to give liberally. But that's not what these people are. They are thieves. They are a wolf in sheep's clothing behind the word liberal.
Macy's will now sell hijabs in its new modest clothing line. But this is a picture of a girl being sexually assaulted for not having a hijab on, although she's dressed to the nines there. I wanted to bring up, when he tweeted this out, I got it from Raheem on Breitbart. UK government gives out free hijabs. Let that sink in.
Because that's exactly what the government should be doing.
Right. Yeah, why is it that the government is handing out free hijabs? He had a big long tweet on it. I'll find it later or something. All right. I want to share this for you. Watch. We cannot give in to extortion. We will fight those who want to change the Christian identity of Europe. Hungarian patriot Viktor Orban is standing up for the EU bullies. Are you ready?
I love
it. The president of the Fetus has discussed yesterday the announcement of the Belgian Prime Minister that it will, if necessary, with force, obligate Central European countries, including Hungary, to accept migrants. According to their plan, this will happen in June. At the summit of the prime ministers in Brussels, our presidency has taken a stand. We cannot give in to extortion. For us, Hungary is first. We will fight those who want to change the Christian identity of Hungary in Europe. Go Hungary. Don't go hungry. Eat something. All right, I'm going to finish. I'm going to go into this a little bit more. This top Vatican official who went to China. The Chancellor of the Pontifical Academy of Social Sciences has heaped high and unexpected praise on China, insisting that the atheistic communist regime has created the best model of living for Catholic social teaching. Did you see my head hurting right now?
Yep.
My head is hurting right now. You know what? Our friends from Make It Poland Great Again, they're not big fans of the Catholics because, and we love Catholics, by the way, but the Catholics in Poland, the upper echelons, not the Catholic people, but the priests and things were involved in pushing and keeping commies in power. Yeah. The Catholic Jesuits especially have always been part of this communistic push, which is incredibly insane to me because to be a Karl Marxist communist, you have to literally deny God.
Right. That
there is any God. And you get rid of human liberty, which is not part of Catholic teaching. Okay? Catholic teaching is based on human liberty and individuality and things like that. So after visiting Beijing for the first time some months ago, Argentinian, and it always happens to be the South American because it's such communism is
so entrenched down there.
Bishop Marcelo Sanchez Sorando reportedly returned to the Vatican full of enthusiasm for the Asian country, and this week told a journalist that at this moment, the Chinese are the ones implementing Catholic social teaching best. I'm wondering if, grinding up fetuses and putting them in pills and selling them as a cure-all is part of that. Forced abortion, is that part of that? Actually taking children from the time they're born away from their parents, right, and putting them into their own jobs. We actually had the wonderful pleasure of hosting a young man. His name is Chi, from China. He was doing a bicycle trip, and we had done a bicycle trip, and so a friend of ours asked him to keep him here, and he's just such a wonderful young man. And growing up, he said that his family did fairly well because they were in the government.
Right.
And if you have money, you can basically do anything you want. And at that time, the second child, you weren't allowed to have a second child. So, but he said you could if you paid a lot of money. Yeah. Thousands and thousands of dollars that most people don't have. He said that the one thing, when we showed him different foods, like, do you want to have a pop? We had Coke or something. He goes, we had pop, but not every day. Everything that was special, not every day. Right. He ate his meals so slowly because in China, where he grew up, even though his parents were in government, they didn't have anything to do. They didn't do anything. So they would literally take 4 or 5 hours to eat dinner. That's it. I mean, and they would just eat it so slow. The government doesn't actually care for human rights in China. It's oh, you guys, it's awful. In describing his visit, Sanchez said that he found an extraordinary China with an exceptional work ethic. What many people don't know, he said, is that the central Chinese value is work, work, work. That's not in the Bible, he says, but in the they want to show that they have changed, that they now accept private property. Not really. And not autonomy where you can just go wherever you want and do whatever you want.
Hang on, there's probably sound playing here. Sorry, guys. First of all, let me pull this up since the sound is playing. I don't even know what it is. Here you go. Leo mentioned our friend Chi, and he is... Let me switch over to this since the... Oops, wrong scene.
I don't hear anything.
Hang on, because I have it muted. It's telling me that there's sound playing. So since there is, let's go ahead and... Is there sound? Is it just
I don't
music?
hear it. I don't hear it.
You're in the wrong speaker.
Oh, it's just music.
Okay, that's fine. Well, I know they were hearing in the background because I had pulled up this page, and whenever I pull up anything, you guys hear. I can't do anything sneaky. This is our friend Chi here on what you're seeing here on the motorcycle.
Right now, he's traveling through England and Ireland. I think he's on to France now.
He was in the middle of war-torn areas in the Middle East. Mm-hmm. He literally landed in New York. Somebody gave him a Bible. He rode his bicycle with so much gear on it across America. He was down in Mexico. Everything that Chi has done has been like massive, and he meets all of these people, and he reports in these different places. He goes where nobody else wants to go, and he's just this kind of freelance journalist, and he started in China. So why do I bring this up? Because we have a free-thinking Chinaman who understands what is going on in communist China. He understands the real deal. And when he came to us, so I wanted to give weight to when you say what we were told about what's going on in China.
Why do you think he's not going back, baby? He keeps traveling. I think that's why they allow him to stay out of the country.
They cannot think for themselves. They are not allowed to be their own person. He's not going back to China. He is going to continue to travel throughout Europe, as long as he can, because it is so oppressive in China. So that's what I wanted to give weight to.
Sanchez's intense dislike of the United States may provide one possible explanation for his surreal statement. He took pains to show a number of presumed points of convergences between the Vatican and China, insisting that China defends the dignity of the person better than other countries, that organ donation has increased enormously. We imprison you, prisoners of conscience, then we just take your organs from you, whether you actually want to or not, and that China is assuming the position of a moral leadership in the area of combating climate change in the way other countries have abandoned. The economy doesn't dominate politics as it does in the United States. No. They just control everything. How is it possible?
Hang on. What does dominate in China? What does dominate politics in China? China. The government. We, the people in the United States, are supposed to, and we do in part, order our government. In China, the government just tells everyone what to do.
Right. All right. So moving on to Poland here. Pastor Pawel, how do you say it? Pavel. He came up with this response to, they're really upset about Israel's response to the death camp thing, and it's kind of shaken Poland to its core. And Pastor Pavel came up with a good response here. I want to share this with you guys. Right now, we need to calm down about this conflict. So our government circles should send out conciliatory signals. Let's calm down the situation and back down. It's clear we don't understand this tension. It's not benefiting anyone. This legislation caused it. Let's sit down. Let's talk calmly about it. And so it can serve the truth and the Poles as best as it can. Now, what is he referring to? This legislation the Poland came up with that you're actually, it's illegal, made it illegal to say Polish death camps, that the Poles were part of the death camps. And so Israel's really upset about this. Okay. So it's causing a lot of tension. And that it can serve the Jews well who suffered terribly during World War II at the hands of the Germans. Right. So this is what the current Polish politicians should do. Will they do it? We'll see. The second step, there is an urgent need for a community of Jews who want to have a real talk with the Poles. I mean a real conversation, not about history, but about a joint alliance today. And this is a matter of survival for Poland and Israel. We need a community in Poland that is strong and ready to talk. Because it's not enough just to have the right views and opinions, you also need strength, right? For example, Professor made a fool of himself by saying that truth has no meaning in politics and is only a tool. Dr. Targowski agreed with it as well. This shows that our Catholic elites absolutely do not believe in God and don't take him seriously. In their geopolitical discussions. They do it for an hour at Sunday Mass, and yes, they buy a Christmas tree, etc., but they claim they speak about truth. Yeah, that's what they claim, but I'm showing their view that truth doesn't matter. No, truth is essential in politics. Only it can't be truth of Pharisees. Truth needs to be spoken by people who live in truth. Not by the Pharisees who play with truth according to their needs. One time the truth is this, another time the truth is that, then there is no truth. Then everyone can see that these people are not trustworthy. The question is, will Israel and Poland bring forth communities that will sit down and talk about the future? I'm not talking about the current government circles. Let Netanyahu sell himself off to Putin. Morawiecki to Berlin and also to Putin. I don't know and I don't care. Instead, I'm talking about authentic and strong communities in Israel and in Poland. Can you see this? It's our latest monthly issue of Go Against the Tide. Why does Poland need the November 11th movement? Now you know why. Our political elite is useless. We don't have one. They are worse than what we had in 1939. Today they are worse. The third point refers to the future, and it's about the need for Israel to change the way they raise their youth. I don't know, perhaps as you say, they should not dwell on the times of World War II. Not on the period when Poland was partitioned, but instead should show them the golden age when the Jewish rabbis were saying that if it wasn't for Poland, Jews wouldn't survive in the world, and called Poland heaven for Jews. That's how Jewish rabbis referred to Poland back in the 16th century. Maybe we should remind Jews about that. And on the other hand, there is a project like that already to not bring them to Auschwitz or to Majdanek, but to the death camps in Germany so that they will finally realize that it was the Germans who murdered them, and only after that they might go to Poland. We can see already that at least on the Israeli side, this idea already exists. They're saying, listen, we can't keep on sending these kids on trips to Auschwitz because we don't like the results. Let's send them to the German or Austrian death camps. Jews are already officially saying this. And Poland should be shown instead of as a friendly nation, a friendly place, where their ancestors survived. Yes, exactly, and show them the real history here and not just endlessly repeat the past 100 years, during which a sovereign Polish state did not exist. Exactly.
Well said, Pastor Pavel. We absolutely support Go Against the Tide. I know that a lot of our Catholic Polish viewers have a problem with them. I know that in the chat just now, Jacek says, I think Pastor Krojecki is doing the same propaganda as in Poland as the Democrats are doing in the USA, and I have nothing against Protestants. It's just about Krojecki's group, and I have to disagree, and here's why. I think that what catches everyone up is the religious aspect of this, but when you listen to their politics and you listen to God's love,
just like make America great politics, again. Yeah.
Now, they do say a lot of things against the Catholic Church, but I have to tell you, there is corruption within the Catholic Church.
That a lot of Catholics don't want to recognize. Pope Francis he was in the news lately because he said he didn't hear that there was I think it was a Chilean priest who molested people, and he had actually been given a hand-delivered letter about this priest molesting people.
Yeah.
And he still allowed him to stay in power. The molestation that happens within the Catholic Church is awful, and it starts at the top. You've got a lot of infiltration of wicked people and wicked people getting power. The Catholic Church has always been a great bastion against corruption, but it's always like a yin and a yang. It's a light and a dark. It's like they either do things really, really well or they do things really, really badly. And so if we don't call them out on the things that they are doing that are corruption, if you got commies in there, that's you can't deal with that. Okay, that is against real Christian teaching. And so while a lot of it to me is a little bit too anti-Catholic, I don't.
Leoas hit the nail on the head for the way that Leah and I feel about this. All churches have some corruption to a degree. It's just that the Catholic Church is very powerful and has a lot of influence. Yeah. And that is the key. And I want to caution a lot of you guys in the chat that are Resistance Chicks viewers, because if you're going to be following Leah and I and supporting us, I really want you to prayerfully consider taking the stance that we do. We love real Catholics. We love the Catholic Church for so many reasons. We hate the corruption within the Catholic Church that does exist. And those two things are not mutually exclusive. You don't have to have one or the other. And I see in the chat, and it really breaks my heart that I see so much slander and so much hatred, and you all know who you are. I see your names. I'm watching the chat. Whether you're defending Catholicism or you're speaking out against it, there's very few of you on here, regular people that I love, that speak it in love. Okay? And that's what I have. He who is without sin cast the first stone. If you can't say something like we do in the power of God, Pope Francis is evil. He is a bad dude. The entire Catholic Church is not corrupt and not trying to take over the world. And everybody that goes out saying, oh, Catholics aren't Christians and all this,
but I want to give an example, because I understand where people come from. I understand where Paul loves, where they're coming from in a predominantly Catholic nation.
Right.
The Catholics just go to church on Sunday, but they're not in the Bible, reading the Bible, having a relationship with Jesus Christ. And so they're easily,
both sides.
Right. Yeah.
And we're able to navigate that. So if you aren't able to navigate finding the Holy Spirit from Pastor Pavel and finding the Holy Spirit from people in the Catholic Church, if you can't do both of those things, just keep your mouth shut. I'm sorry, just do it, because you aren't speaking in love. I understand that there are evils on both sides, but you can't just call out the evils if you don't see the whole truth, which is Jesus Christ and love.
At the same time, though, I would, I understand if you're Catholic and you watch Pavel, you're going to be offended.
Sure. Oh, absolutely. Yeah.
You're going to be offended because I don't think that he's able to make the outreach yet. No. But I think that God will lead them in.
What's happening in Poland, I think, is different than what's happening here in the United States.
Absolutely.
The Catholic Church is so huge and so powerful worldwide. Wherever it's at, in whatever country it is in, is going to be different. It's different statewide. We have a really close friend who was a Catholic in Pennsylvania, and then now he's a Catholic in Kentucky. And he's like, the Catholics in Kentucky? Like, these people are different. I mean, we have potlucks and stuff. And he's Catholic.
However, though, he had, he
loves the people down there. It's like, it's friendly and stuff. But the people in Pennsylvania, the Catholics in Pennsylvania were more, you go in, you leave, you sit, you do your mass, you leave, you're gone, So there's just differences that I think that maybe we all can't understand. So my advice is just to walk in love.
I want to give out some good news. You get Jasper. The stuff of tyranny. Christian baker who refused to make gay wedding cake scores a major victory. Now, this is happening all over the country. Different bakers or people who host weddings or people who take pictures, photographers. However, this case in California, the baker won, and I'm very happy for him. A California judge ruled in favor of a Christian baker who has been under fire for her refusal last August to make a same-sex wedding cake, finding that the state cannot force her to act against her sincerely held beliefs. Kathy Miller, owner of Tasty's Bakery, won her victory on Monday with Kern County Superior Court Judge David Lamp drawing an interesting distinctive in the case. Had Miller declined to make a cake that was already made and on display, then she would have been guilty of discrimination. But the cake the couple requested had not been made yet, and according to Quebec, the baker offered the couple another means to get their cake at a different establishment. Lamp went as far as to say that forcing someone to violate his or her religious beliefs would be the stuff of tyranny. So let's see.
But we begin tonight with a decision in a controversial court case that centered on free speech, freedom of religion, and discrimination. It involves the owner of a local bakery and the same-sex couple she refused to make a wedding cake for. 17's Mary Kate Paquette is here with reaction to the judge's decision. Mary Kate?
Just 3 days after both sides presented their case in court, Judge David Lampe ruled in favor of bakery owner Kathy Miller. The case started in August when Miller refused to make a cake for Eileen and Maria Rodriguez del Rio, a same-sex couple, because of her religious beliefs. The couple filed a lawsuit against Miller for discrimination. The case went before Judge David Lampy Friday, where he grilled attorneys from both sides. Earlier that day, supporters of Miller held a prayer rally outside the courthouse next to a smaller group of counter-protesters in support of the couple. Just before 5 p.m. Monday, Judge Lampy denied the state's request for a preliminary injunction that would have forced Miller to design custom wedding cakes for everyone who entered her shop or to stop making wedding cakes altogether. Miller says she's happy and shocked at how quickly the decision came down.
When our attorneys called this evening, we were shocked. Of course, we hoped that it would come in our favor, but we knew that the Lord was in control of this, and we did what we were called to do. Our bakery and our family feel very blessed that the judge ruled in our favor. Not to say that we want to be discriminatory, but we do need to stand for our religious freedom and for our freedom of speech.
I reached out to the Rodriguez Del Rios, who declined to comment, but their attorney, Patricia Ziegler-Lopez, sent this statement, quote, "Not a total surprise on the judge's decision not to grant the preliminary injunction, but this is only the beginning. It is just one battle in the war against discrimination," end quote. In his ruling, Judge Lampy said, forcing Miller to make cakes for everyone would, quote, "do violence to the essentials of free speech guaranteed under the First Amendment." Mary Kay Paquette, 17 News.
This is absolutely shocking, and
this is what we keep talking about. If they refuse, if she refused to actually sell them a cake that was already made,
yep, that's.
But when you have to create artwork for someone, you're an artist. You can refuse to make artwork for anybody who comes in for a wedding. She can refuse that as well.
Correct.
Just, she can refuse as an artist. Your medium and your goods, it's in your mind. Nobody can hack your mind and make you do something.
I could not agree more. Blewa says, how many cake makers do you suppose are in the state of California? Somebody would have baked that darn cake for them. Was it necessary to drag this cake maker through all of this? And we have to remember, Lampay was the judge.
I think so.
I think he could... I'm shocked that there is a judge in California that could actually see. He was able to see, you know what? This lady made arrangements to have the cake made by another establishment. There is one sound-minded judge in the state of California.
Yeah.
Big shock there. Listen, Gary says, you used to be able to refuse service to anyone.
No shoes, no shirt, no service. What about people who don't have shirts? Or shoes.
This is a huge victory, and it does show that there is sanity left in the state of California.
All right, where sanity is not. France, a migrant crisis spirals out of control. Hundreds of Africans and Asians, armed with knives and iron rods, fought running street battles in the northern port city of Calais on February 1st. Less than 2 weeks after the French President Emmanuel Macron visited there and pledged to crack down on illegal immigration. The clashes plunged Calais, emblematic of Europe's failure to control mass migration, into a war zone and reinforced the perception that the French authorities had lost control of the country's security situation. The mass brawls, fought in at least 3 different parts of Calais, erupted after a 37-year-old Afghan migrant running a human trafficking operation fired gunshots at a group of Africans who did not have the money to pay for his human trafficking services. 5 Africans suffered life-threatening injuries. Within an hour, hundreds of Eritreans, Ethiopians, and Sudanese took to the streets of Calais and attacked any Afghans they could find. More than 1,000 police officers using batons and tear gas were deployed to restore order. 24 migrants were hospitalized. French Interior Minister Gerard Collomb described the level of violence in Calais as unprecedented. He attributed the fighting to an escalating turf war between Afghan and Kurdish gangs seeking to gain control over human trafficking between Calais and Britain, which many migrants view as El Dorado because of its massive underground economy. Each day, around 40 ferries depart Calais for Britain. This is what we call an army. An invading army. Dude,
anybody with half a brain can see that.
But they want them to come in. That's the only explanation, baby. They want them in.
This is? All right, so for those of you that have seen...
You just go and you round everybody up and you send them away. How is this not a thing?
Star Wars. The Clone Wars. All right? Unless you can create a whole bunch of clone drones or something like that, okay? How else are you going to get an army except for to infiltrate Europe with massive amounts of people. I mean, they literally, this is as plain as the nose on my face, guys. Ugh.
Vincent de Koenig, director of the charity Secours Catholique de Pas de Calais, said that rival gangs were trying to secure control over access to the port of Calais in order to induce payments of about $3,000 from migrants seeking to stow away on trucks crossing the English Channel. The problem isn't that they're stowing on the trucks. The problem to this Catholic charity is that they're charging money for it. D. Connect added that the situation in Calais has deteriorated since January 18th when Macron, British Prime Minister, May signed the so-called Sandhurst Treaty, in which May pledged to speed up the processing of migrants hoping to travel to Britain from Calais. If you're in Calais, you don't get to go to Britain. You go home. You go home, baby. They're all trying to get to Britain, y'all. You got an army there in the UK, by the way. That's why you have, you know, National Hijab Day and the government's giving out hijabs.
Please let's not make our UK viewers more depressed than they are.
According to Koenig, Macron and May failed adequately to explain the contents of the new treaty. This failure, he said, has created false hopes among migrants from Africa and elsewhere that the treaty would improve their chances of reaching Britain. De Koenig further said that hundreds of new migrants had arrived in Calais during the last 2 weeks since the treaty was signed. We all get to go to Britain, Britain. Oh, we all get to go to an island in the middle of the ocean. The surge of new arrivals, he said, had created an imbalance between Africans and Asians, thereby increasing inter-ethnic tension. So you have Africans and Asians, meaning Africans and Arabs, by the way, not Asians, like, you know, Oriental Asians, sorry. Francois Janoc, vice president of Calais Charity des Migrants, echoed the view that the new treaty had created false expectations. It gives people hope to reach England. People arrive suddenly. Around 200, mainly underage people and women. Who arrived in Calais because they thought that the Home Office, that they could go directly to England. Then they thought the Home Office was lying. People were upset. It was crazy. They heard, come on, we're going to get you in. Give me $3,000. $3,000. We're going to get you in. Europe's migration crisis has emerged as the first major test facing President Macron, which little baby man cannot do anything to help. I'm sorry. Actually, since May, Macron has actually incorporated many of Le Pen's ideas. In an essay published by Le Monde on January 2nd, Macron wrote that German Chancellor Angela Merkel's decision to allow in more than 1 million migrants from Africa, Asia, and the Middle East had saved the collective dignity of the European people. He added that he would not tolerate the rebuilding of walls in Europe and criticized the abject simplifications made by those who say that by opening the borders to migrants, the Chancellor exposed Europe to severe dangers. On July 27th, he said, however, after less than 3 months in office, he warned that the 800,000 migrants in Libya were on their way to Europe. He announced a plan to establish immigration centers in Libya to vet asylum seekers there. He said his plan would stem the flow of migrants to Europe by discouraging economic migrants from embarking on the Mediterranean. So first he says, open up the door, baby, let them all in. And then he's president, and people are like, what's going on? He's like, well, maybe we shouldn't let them in. In the same speech, though, Macron appeared to encourage migrants to make their way to France. He pledged housing for all newcomers everywhere in France.
How are you going to
make that happen? And from the very first minute you come. By the end of the
happen?
year, I do not want to have any men and women living in the streets or in the wood. I want emergency accommodations everywhere. So I'm going to France to to stay there for free. The French Interior Minister reported that more than 17,000 migrants attempted to board the UK-bound trucks and trains at the port and Eurotunnel in Calais during the first 7 months in 2017. The figures showed that the closure of the jungle in October 2016 had failed to deter migrants in Calais to trying to reach Britain.
No kidding.
In September 2017, the French government asked the European Union for permission to maintain border controls within the passport-free Schengen zone for as long as 4 years due to the continuing threat of Islamic terrorism. On October 15th, 2 weeks after a Tunisian migrant stabbed to death 2 women in Marseille, Macron pledged to deport any migrant who commits a crime. We will take the most severe measures. We will do what we must do. He's just talking. He got one side of his mouth, and he got another side of his mouth. And
so what too says these refugees, they age rather slowly. And he says a refugee year is 3 years.
Absolutely.
Or so
30-year-olds
the age quickly
are
is what he meant.
more like 18 or 19.
Yeah. Worth a Look says Macron is just like Justin, bought off puppets, trying to ruin their countries and identities.
Yes. I'm sure there's some video. I thought I had a video up, but I'm not sure I had a video. If you wanted to see,
you just showed Katie Hopkins' face, and we don't have time to cover that today. Perhaps if we go live tomorrow, but she's covering what is happening in South Africa, and she was detained. I'm glad that she was free, but she's got some pretty good footage, and I'm really, really proud of her for going there, because this is an issue in South Africa that not a lot of news agencies or even alternative news are talking about. So go, Katie, for having the chutzpah to head to South Africa.
Polish truck drivers under the illegal load of progressivity in Calais, total sick conditions at the French. So that must be a translation.
You, I will break your head. F. Get the F out of here. Wow, I guess that guy's really upset. I can understand why he's upset. Yeah. He's gonna like run him over. Wow. So I think that might express to you how they really feel about the invaders. They were saying don't call them refugees, call them invaders.
Here they are. Here's the army fighting each other. Why would any of them get to be in? They're just They're just random. They're like zoo animals, like
they need a mom. Because how many of you know a mama that if the two kids are fighting, you ain't getting a cookie, you ain't getting dinner, you don't get to watch TV, you're going to your room.
They need mommies.
Okay, so you come into another country, they need some sort of mama that says you do not go into somebody else's country and act like this. All right, so you go home. You do not get to stay here. All right, so somebody needs to stand up. And you know who would have been a great mommy in France besides Mamie Macron?
Le Pen.
Le Pen would have done that. She would have been like, you ain't coming over to my house. You're not coming over to my house. And you're not going to act like this. You will go home. That was my actually kind of, it was supposed to be French, but it really wasn't. All right, do you have anything else? Because I have a couple things.
That's it.
All right, so I want to go to my email here quickly. Bill was here in the, Bill Burnett, who we're going to get to. Do you want to go get the letter and the video off of the table? He's the viewer that I refer to you guys a lot, having been around during the JFK assassination, Martin Luther King Jr., things like that. He was integral, thank you, to red pilling a lot of people before the internet was even a thing. One of the comments he said about today's show is, in Hebrew, the verse says, in the beginning God created. After these words, there appears two Hebrew letters, Elf and Tav, the first and last letters in the Hebrew alphabet. In Greek, it is Alpha and Omega. Then it goes on to say the heaven and the earth. In the English translations of the Bible, these two letters have no translation. So the Bible often will place a small cross there. I believe that God created Alpha and Omega, Christ, and then score the heaven and the earth. So that was his comment on that. I'm not sure that's our take on it, but that was Bill's, and so I wanted to pass that along. So Bill sent us this movie, which we haven't had a chance to watch.
We'll watch it after the show.
John Voight in the Odessa File. I'm absolutely intrigued to watch that.
The year is 1963. The place, Hamburg, Germany. An elderly Jewish man commits suicide, leaving a diary which falls into the hands of a freelance newspaperman, Peter Miller. A diary documents the unspeakable crimes of cruelty, torture, and mass murder perpetrated by SS Captain. Michelle hates Holocaust movies.
I do. I hate them.
Perpetrated by SS Captain Edward Roshman, commandant of the notorious wartime death camp in Riga, Latvia. Miller launches a personal manhunt to track down Roshman, an investigation that leads him into the very heart of Odessa, a powerful secret organization formed by the SS to protect and reestablish its fugitive members throughout the world. When Miller finds Roshman, he learns that the former Nazi is now the leader of a weaponry complex international strategic consequences.
That's a good place to say there are no Polish death camps.
There are no Polish death camps, even in Latvia.
Oh,
German.
Sorry. Poland and kill Polish people.
Robert Boone says good movie, so I guess he has seen it. All right, so Bill says, here is the copy of the movie, The Odessa File. I told you about previously. The information in this movie was verified and provided by Simon Wiesenthal renowned Nazi hunter. Most of the original SS and Gestapo members have died off, but they have been raising and training a plethora of hardcore replacements dedicated to keeping the goal of establishing the 1,000-year Reich, a one-world government under German control.
It's called the European Union.
Deutschland über alles. Jorg, one of our viewers, So What Too here, told us that the stanza of the German national anthem has been outlawed for use, yet curiously it still remains. This is why I was interested to know what Jorg's thoughts were about Odessa. Since they controlled all aspects of post-war German society, it was not hard to convince the war-ravaged populace that Odessa was a myth. Are we going to cover the fact that Bayer and IG Farben is going to merge with Monsanto?
We've talked about it several times.
Well, it's kind of new now.
We talked about it.
Okay. Shortly after the 1960 presidential election, President Eisenhower conducted transitional briefings with newly elected President John Kennedy, with Robert Kennedy present. They were warned of the military-industrial complex. They were told that Adolf Hitler was still alive in Argentina, and from there was still directing his aims of total war domination. All of the members of the SS and Gestapo had sworn a blood oath to serve only Adolf Hitler. Hitler knew that he would have to destroy both England and the United States to accomplish that aim. Odessa was formed for that purpose. Several thousand former SS and Gestapo members were brought into the United States under Operation Paperclip and dispersed throughout the government and private industries. In 1947, President Truman called upon Alan Dulles, very, very much a pro-Nazi sympathizer. Dulles?
Looks like DeLeo.
DeLeo? Mm-hmm. I think it's an S, but all right, we'll get to that. Dulles, I think it's Dulles. But it's the same word here.
Okay.
Excuse me. To form the CIA. That's the important line there. I don't want to skip that. Dulles, in turn, recruited the Nazi SS general Reinhard Gehlen, former head of the Third Reich Intelligence Service, and kept him from standing trial at the Nuremberg War Crimes trial. He came to the United States to assist in the development of the CIA. Gehlen was allowed to recruit his own agents under his direction. He recruited over 2,000 former SS and Gestapo Odessa agents. After the German government was reorganized, Gehlen returned there to organize their intelligence service. Most of the Odessa agents he brought over remained here in the CIA. He had no trouble finding replacements in Germany. Eisenhower also told them of massive corruption inside the FBI. The lines between the CIA and the FBI had become blurred, and that the mafia had merged with the FBI. Later, Robert Kennedy, as Attorney General, conducted massive investigations of organized crime to find the link and expose it. His brother's assassination brought an end to that investigation. He also warned them that Dulles and J. Edgar Hoover were becoming serious threats to the United States, with tentacles deeply ensconced throughout the government and military. He also educated and warned them about the history of the Federal Reserve, which he was convinced is a serious threat to the constitutional government. Senator Kennedy said that it was as though scales had fallen from their eyes and they could see the truth clearly for the first time. They turned their political beliefs from progressive Democrat to Jeffersonian Democrats. They vowed to save and restore the United States. President Eisenhower unanimously warned them to especially keep a close eye on his Vice President Richard Nixon and the new Vice President-elect Lyndon Johnson, because they were extremely corrupt, power-hungry, and ruthless individuals who will do anything to become President of the United States. My voice is getting raw if you want to finish it.
Interesting to note that on November 22nd, 1963, there were 4 presidents in Dallas: JFK, Lyndon Johnson, Richard Nixon, and George Walker Bush. It must have been a coincidence. After John Kennedy was sworn into power, he immediately stopped the military-industrial complex CIA planned invasion of Cuba, but not giving U.S. military support for the Bay of Pigs invasion, and started to make plans for the total withdrawal of all the military advisors from Vietnam. He got massive resistance from within the Pentagon. He later encouraged the production of the movie 7 Days in May, which depicts a military coup d'etat and which he believed was in the works. He fired J. Edgar Hoover from the FBI and John Foster Dulles from the CIA, and started appointing individuals to rout out the corruption in both agencies. The first attempt to destroy the deep state. He delivered his speech on the secret societies, YouTube, you've seen that one, the secret societies,
yes,
to try to warn Americans. President Kennedy sought to end the Federal Reserve System and to return control of the United States currency to the U.S. Treasury Department. He was trying to stop the removal of silver backing our money. You know what? I got to tell you, I have never liked JFK from what I've heard about him my whole life.
Right.
But I didn't know that he actually had some good
He was trying to take down the deep state, which he knew was the CIA and the FBI.
Senator Kennedy said that in early November 1963, John Kennedy tried to set a meeting at the Area 51 and was denied access because he didn't have high enough security clearance. He told them that he was the President of the United States, and after he returned from his trip to Texas, that he would be out there and that he was sure they would let him into the facility because the entire 7th Army with him. The event never happened. Senator Kennedy told us the above information during a discussion we were having with him about why he insisted on sitting up on the top of the back seat of the trunk lid of open air convertibles in the small town parades. We were seriously concerned about his safety. He wanted us to know that anyone wanting to kill him would have the ability to do so at any time, at any location. He said only God can put a stop to it from occurring. This took place a couple of months after Reverend King was murdered, and a couple of weeks before he was also assassinated in Los Angeles. And he says, sorry, this letter is so long.
So thank you very much for that, Bill, for sending the video. He also included this absolutely fitting. Our kitchen is cowboy themed, and we have a praying cowboy in a couple of different places in the kitchen. So thank you very much for Bill. That's absolutely fantastic. We also got a Valentine card from Lori. You want to read it?
I hope you both have a great Valentine's Day. Thanks so much for the shows that you do, getting the truth out to the American people and Europe. You both have amazing voices. God bless. Best wishes.
So I saw Lori joined the Facebook Live chat a little while ago. So if you're still there, Lori, thank you very much for being thoughtful. Did you show the adorable little puppy dog?
I did.
She must know us really well. So, okay, let me get to Donna Terry. You guys were asking for a song. Well, Donna Terry submitted this poem. She's a poet.
Another poem?
Mm-hmm. It's called America. The greatest of nations, where have you been? The back doors were opened. That's how they slipped in. Distractions ongoing, truths hidden in sight, ignoring all want, woe be our plight. Focused on small things, the major ignored, can't think of another, much to self-absorb. Our downfalls, not others, bringing their sin. Protect not our nation, we crumble within.
Whoa, girlfriend, that's good.
That's absolutely beautiful. Thank you, Donna. Patriot Gallery.
I just want to add something about Kennedy. The reason Kennedy did not succeed is he didn't come out and say, I'm sorry my dad did this. His dad caused the Depression. His dad was one of the globalists. His dad was one of those guys at Jekyll Isle. Kennedy is a horrible, horrible name. And he would have had to renounce all that.
Right. Yeah.
When you see Washington and you see Jefferson, they had land and they had slaves. But they repented of their parents' sins.
And the reason they
were willing
was
to,
because of their parents.
they wanted to set the slaves free. The laws wouldn't let them set the slaves free.
Right.
Kennedy didn't renounce the family fortune that his dad made off the Depression.
Right.
Kennedy wasn't ready to give all the farms back that his dad stole. Kennedy wasn't ready to give all the gold and silver back either. So that's why he could not succeed. He might have wanted to do right, but you have to go to God and repent even of your parents' sins and say, I won't walk in my father and mother's footsteps any longer. His father is one of the biggest persons who purposely created the Depression that stole all our grandparents and our inheritance and our gold and our freedoms from us. He's the biggest one.
Right. All right. So last mail call here that I have is an email from Kay from South Carolina. She says, hi, girls and mom, please pass this around. This was sent to me from a small farm that I buy my meats from. Thank you for your support. Now, Lee and I are very well aware on an intimate basis, the Prime Act, our adopted Congressman, Thomas Massey from Kentucky, keeps trying to push this forward. And it's very, very important that the Prime Act gets passed. Congress will soon be considering the Farm Bill. So it's time to tell your representatives to support common sense regulations for local meat production. High quality local meat can be hard to find. And one of the main reasons of the shortage of inspected slaughterhouses that are accessible to small farmers in many parts of the country. Farmers often have to haul their animals several hours.
You missed that.
I know.
One of the main reasons is the shortage of inspected slaughterhouses that are acceptable.
Inspected.
Could you just explain what that means?
All right. So what they're saying here is you have to have a slaughterhouse that is inspected by the USDA.
Yeah.
And it has to be stamped, and there aren't very many. And so a lot of people are having to haul their beef and pork and poultry to these USDA inspected slaughterhouses.
In order to sell them retail cuts.
Exactly. All right, farmers often have to haul their animals several hours, increasing expenses for the farmer, driving prices up for consumers, and creating stress on the animals. Let's stress that part.
Why is there a shortage?
Because federal regulations take a one-size-fits-all approach that impose unnecessary burdens and expenses on small-scale processors, driving them out of business. Whether the inspectors are from the United States Department of Agriculture, the USDA, or the state agency, they have to apply the same standards under the current law. There are custom slaughterhouses for which states can set their own standards, but under current law, meat from a custom facility cannot be sold. Instead, it can only go to the individuals who own the animal at the time of the slaughter that takes place. You want to explain to them how we get our beef?
So here's the thing. We actually buy meat. We buy the beef from these slaughterhouses.
Yep.
We should be able to buy
cuts of meat.
Cuts
we can't
of
buy.
meat.
We have to buy a quarter or a half.
It's the
of
same
a cow.
meat,
right?
But because you have to pre-sell the animal before,
Right.
and pigs can
So
be
what
done
we do
in
is
half.
we buy the cow
and cows
from the owner, and then it's a weird transaction, and then it goes to the slaughterhouse.
But we don't pay them till after we get the stuff. So cows you can do in quarters. So if you get to the cow, you can get a whole cow, a half a cow, or a quarter of a cow.
Right.
But you got to
you have to buy the whole cow.
If you're going to do a pig, you can only do a half a pig or a whole pig.
Right. All right. So I'm going to skip through because we just explained that too. One solution to include HR 2657, the Processing Revival and Intrastate Meat Exemption, the PRIME Act, in the Farm Bill. The PRIME Act would enable states to set their own health and safety standards, which should be a thing.
Right.
We are a republic. Every state should be
Instead
setting
of
their own
needing
standards.
to pay a USDA guy to be there, the states can set their own.
There has to be a USDA man on site for every slaughter, from what I understand.
Yeah.
So they set their own safety standards for the sale of custom processed meat within the state. Many farmers already have a custom slaughterhouse much closer than a federal or state inspected facility.
So as is, we can't sell cuts of our meat to people.
Our pigs.
But under this act, we could take our pigs to a slaughterhouse and then bring it back to our own freezer and then resell the cuts.
Right.
Under
the PRIME
this
Act would allow individual states to permit intrastate distribution of custom slaughtered.
The states would still have to make new rules.
Beef, pork, lamb, and so the thing is, we have to start with the PRIME Act to get it out of the Fed. And go to individual consumers, restaurants, hotels, grocery stores. Passage of the PRIME Act would support small farmers, their animals, improve consumer access to locally raised meats. It is far healthier to eat locally raised meats. Now we have meats that are being raised in Ohio, sent to China, then reshipped back and put on your grocery store shelves, and you have no idea what happens to them. And yet you can't sell the meat that was grown by Farmer Joe down the street.
The funny thing is you can sell chickens, and there's each state has a limit on how many chickens you can sell each year.
Exactly.
And chickens have no inspection. We can butcher them right on our farm, bag them up, and sell them. Turkeys too.
Then they list kind of a sample call if you want to start cold calling people to get you to support this initiative. But I wanted to bring to light that that is ongoing. They're going to keep presenting it. Thomas Massey is like a dog with a bone. He's not going to let this go because he's a rancher himself. He does. He has cows. So I'm really, really excited about that. I'm hoping that this time it finally goes through.
Right.
All right. Gary earlier had said it's probably time for a song. Well, we weren't going to do a song today.
Stay tuned. Probably tomorrow or Friday. We definitely will.
Yeah, I think we're probably going to go live for the rest of the week. Don't take my word for that, but I have a feeling that we will. So Thursday, obviously, and then Friday we go live at 6 p.m. Eastern Standard Time.
Sunday at 1, European News.
So I think that wraps us up for today. I want to thank our
Box,
moderators.
107, Milford, Ohio, 45150.
Gary, Donna, Terry, I think Six was here earlier, Maia, Worth a Luck. So thank you guys.
Thanks for being with us. This was a long evening. This was a lot to cover.
I'm glad that we broke it in two so that this video isn't 2.5 hours long.
Yeah,
we're pushing
Jack.
2.5 hours. But don't forget to leave your comments in the comment section after the video processes.
Yes, please
because
do that.
we want to be able to read them. The comment section goes, I want to give you guys a little bit of an update. It's kind of like church. How is the, what's the treasury look like and stuff like that? When I go back, and it takes me about 2 days to look at the chat rate for each chat, we are averaging like 1,300 comments per live stream, per 2-hour live stream. I'm not getting that many comments afterwards. Okay. So I really want you to take your pertinent comments and put them in the comment section so Leah and I can go over them
we don't get to see them.
And your jokes.
Mom
Patriot
says you
Gallery
guys are so funny.
Says you're really funny people. All right, you guys. Oh, and Mayo is here. That's right.
How about that song you did last time?
You know what? We did practice that one song. You don't want to do it now?
Do it out loud, a cappella, like you did in my room.
Huh?
That was fun.
We'd have to like play it through once and then we could sing it once. Sing it with them once and then we could sing it once.
Okay. All right. So it looks like you are going to get a comment or get a song. So it says, I do not even know how to watch the comments when I live stream. So what we'll get, I will show you how to do that. It depends on what you're live streaming on. You message me. We will get you hooked up there.
Tell them we never figured out BitChute either.
Yeah, BitChute's a little bit weird. We're trying to be on all platforms. You can thank Patriot Gallery for that. She handles all that stuff. So while I am standing here, I guess I can push some channels. If you guys aren't subscribed to Worth a Look, Chris Holman, Going Batty. Who else is? I don't know who else is here tonight. So What? Cypher News, Will's channel. I want you guys to be subscribed to these other channels.
Say Perfect.
Do you remember?
Say Perfect.
What's the chorus? I'm trying to find the title of the song.
Dead Ain't Dead to Me.
No, that was the other one.
Oh, I like that one.
What's the chorus on it? See, your brain goes fart too.
It does. Don't use that word. That's been a 4-letter curse word in our house since I was a child. We do not say the F word.
The title.
My mom does not like it.
We poof.
Mom, no, we're not turning this into a chat about flatulence. Okay, since you know what? Since we did, I'm going to read this email.
Come all you heavy laden. Duh.
Ben Dover says, hello, ladies. What's the difference between Anderson Cooper and a fridge freezer? A fridge freezer does not fart when the meat gets taken out from it, from Mr. Ben Dover. Get it? Listen, I wasn't going to read that, but and then it did. And so I do try to filter some things that get read online. You guys are going to like this song. We didn't play this one for them yet.
Come all you heavy laden. Come all you heavy laden. Come all you heavy laden. His burden is light. In the garden of Gethsemane, he prayed, sweating blood. Father, will you take this cup from me? If not, your will be done. Oh yeah. Come all you heavy laden. Come all you heavy laden. Come all you heavy laden. His burden is light. Cat 9 tails tore at his flesh. The lamb was torn and bruised. Put a crown of thorns upon his head. Here comes the King of Jews. Oh yeah. Come all you heavy laden. He's the man of sorrow. Come all you heavy laden. Come all you heavy laden. His burden is light. Climbing up the mountain, called the skull for our iniquities. Pardoning the thief hung on the cross. Today you'll be with me. Oh yeah. Come all you heavy laden. Come all you heavy laden. Come all you heavy laden. His burden is light. At his dying breath, the whole earth shook. The rocks split in two. Nailing every sorrow to his death, he paid for me and you. Oh yeah. Come all you heavy laden. Come all you heavy
light. Do we say that again?
Sure, we're not.
You have to ask how it sounded.
Okay, so my mom said that her computer broke on her. I'll have to look into that. I think that it's probably just the power cord, Mom.
Yeah.
All right, I've been meaning to work on that. How's the sound? Is the sound okay? That was the question from Patriot Gallery.
Well, it's really loud. Sometimes it sounds horrible.
Okay, thanks, Ma. She says sometimes it's really loud and it's horrible.
Cracky.
But I got the good mic on, I think.
All right, so we want to sing the song for you now ourselves.
Now we don't have the drums and the beat.
I
just
know.
have Leah and Michelle.
Yep. Come all you heavy laden. Come all you heavy laden. Come all you heavy laden. His burden is light. In the garden of Gethsemane he prayed, sweating blood. Father, will you take this cup from me? If not, your will be done. Oh yeah. Come all you heavy laden. Come all you heavy laden. Won't you come now? Come all you heavy laden. His burden is light. Cat and nine tails tore at his flesh. The lamb was torn and bruised. Put a crown of thorns upon his head. Here comes the King of Jews. Oh yeah. Come all you heavy laden. Come all you heavy laden. Won't you come now? Come all you heavy laden. His burden is light. Climbing up the mountain called the skull for our iniquities. Pardoning a thief hung on the cross. Today you'll be with me. Oh yeah. Come all you heavy laden. Come all you heavy laden. Won't you come now? Come all you heavy laden. His burden is light. At his dying breath the whole earth shook. The rocks they split in two. Nailing every sorrow to his death, he paid for me and you. Oh yeah. Come all you heavy laden. Lay it down now. Come all you heavy laden. Come all you heavy laden. Won't you come now? His burden is light. We need like a box drum. And sorry, I totally lost the harmony on that. We practiced it last week, the other day, and I haven't practiced it since. But that song is so powerful because we're living in a society where everybody's got a story. And I was telling this to a friend of mine the other day. A lot of times we get stuck in our own burdens. And we forget that everybody out there, it doesn't matter who you run into on the street, everybody has a story and everybody has something that is weighing heavily on them. And this song talks about come everyone, and that means all of you that are heavy laden, because God's burden, what he does is he takes your burden, tosses it aside, takes it on himself, crushes it, crumbles it, whatever, takes all the weight. Jesus, take my yoke upon you, for my yoke is easy and my burden
is light. Okay? And when it talks about the cat of nine tails, it tore at his flesh, the lamb was torn and bruised. That's why we can come to him with our burdens. And so that's why I think that this song is so, so powerful. Patriot Gallery.
I used to work for money, now I work to destroy it.
I used to work for money, and now I work to destroy it.
Paper dollars.
The paper fiat currency.
All right.
Absolutely. We're going to sign off here. We love you.
God loves you.
God loves you. God bless. And we will see you back here probably tomorrow, but for sure on Friday.
Friday at 6 is anyone.
Bye, guys.
I was cold all alone. No place for home every day. So afraid. But you call my name. My eyes through the lines.
Yeah, I was wrestling with it and I said, forget it, I'm done.
I kept having to go up and retape it and refix it. And